If your well water leaves orange streaks in the toilet bowl, turns your sink into a science experiment, or makes your shower smell a little swampy, you're not being picky. Iron and sulfur have a way of showing up everywhere. Your morning coffee, your white shirts, even the way your hair feels after a rinse. The tricky part is you don't just buy an iron filter. You match the system to how much iron you're dealing with, how fast your home uses water, and how hands-on you want maintenance to be, so you end up with the best iron filter for well water for your setup. In this video, you'll see 5 well water iron filters side by side, with the real-world stuff that matters, how they treat iron and sulfur, what everyday use feels like, and what ownership looks like when it's installed and running. And if you want to compare for yourself, I've put links to the lowest price I've found right now for each iron filter in the description box below. Let's start this best whole house iron filter for well water review with the Crystal Quest Metal Removal Whole House Water Filter, because this one provides a true layered defense setup you feel right away around the house. You're working with a 20-inch sediment cartridge up front, so sand and grit get caught before they grind through everything else. Then you get a 20-inch solid carbon cartridge as a finishing step, so your water comes through much cleaner for things like cooking, tea, and brushing your teeth. In the middle sits the mineral tank that targets iron, manganese, and hydrogen sulfide, which is what helps stop that rusty tint and rotten egg smell from following you room to room. What stands out next is the way you can size this system around how your household actually runs water. You can choose 1.5 cubic feet of media rated for 1 million gallons, or step up to 2 cubic feet rated for 1,500,000 gallons, so you're not thinking about media replacement every other minute. Service flow lands at 9 to 11 gallons per minute for the 1.5 and 10 to 13 gallons per minute for the 2 cubic feet version, which matters when someone's showering while the washing machine starts filling. The tanks themselves match that sizing, 10 inches by 54 inches for 1.5 and 12 inches by 52 inches for the 2 cubic feet option, so you can picture the footprint before it shows up at your door. The result is a system that feels steady during normal whole house moments, not just when you test it at a single faucet. Daily life with this top-rated iron removal filter usually revolves around backwashing, and here it's built in as automatic backwash. The default setup runs on a timer valve that backwashes on a set number of days, so you get a predictable routine. If you prefer it to respond to how much water you actually use, there's a metered valve option that backwashes based on gallons, which lines up better with busy weeks and quiet weeks. That means the system stays fresh without you having to babysit it. You just know it's doing its rinse and reset in the background. The other piece of this system is how customizable the build can get. You can choose a stainless steel or fiberglass casing, so you match the install environment and your preference for materials. There's also an optional 12 gallons per minute UV water sterilizer available, which gives you another layer if you want disinfection as part of the same whole home lineup. And there's an optional smart valve leak detector designed to help prevent property damage, so you're not relying on luck if something goes sideways when you're not home. If you want a whole house setup that blends iron treatment with nice-to-have add-ons in one ecosystem, this one fits that lane. By the way, what's pushing you to shop right now? Rust stains or that rotten egg smell? Drop a comment below so other people can compare notes. Next up in my best water filter for well water with iron roundup, we have the Express Water 3-stage Deluxe whole house water filter system for iron and manganese, which takes a simpler cartridge-based approach you'll understand the first time you change filters. You get 3 stages: sediment, an iron and manganese stage, and an activated carbon block, so you're cleaning the water in clear steps. The carbon block stage targets things like chlorine and chloramines, along with odors and cloudiness, which is the kind of change you immediately notice when you fill a glass or rinse produce. And because the system treats incoming water for the whole house, you feel it across showers, dishes, and laundry. Your everyday water, not just a single drinking tap. If you're asking what is the best filter to remove iron from well water, the iron and manganese stage uses zeomangan media, and it's built to handle up to 0.2 parts per million iron and 0.05 parts per million manganese. That kind of rating makes the most sense when you're dealing with lighter metal levels and you mainly want to keep water from picking up that subtle tint and staining habit. In practice, you're getting water that looks more normal in the tub and behaves better with soaps and detergents. You still get a whole home setup, just in a format that feels straightforward and familiar. So if you like the idea of swap the cartridges and keep moving, this matches that mindset. Ownership here stays very routine-focused because the filters are designed to be quick and easy to change. A typical filter set averages up to 100,000 gallons, or about 6 to 12 months in normal use, depending on water quality, temperature, and pressure. So you're not constantly wrenching things apart. That means your maintenance rhythm feels more like a calendar reminder than a weekend project. You change the set, tighten things back up, and you're done. It's the kind of system that suits you if you want predictable upkeep without a big regeneration cycle. On the spec side, it's built to sit comfortably in typical home plumbing conditions. You get a stated production rate of 0.25 gallons per second, so water keeps up when the house gets busy. It's rated for 40 to 80 pounds per square inch and 40 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 38 degrees Celsius, which lines up with the way most homes run water day to day. The housing footprint is 29¼ inches high by 23½ inches long by 8½ inches deep, so you can picture it mounted and reachable for filter changes. If you want a 3-stage whole house filter that stays simple and familiar, this one feels like the easy routine pick. Moving on to a standout in the best whole house iron filter for well water category, the Kindwater WS7000 UV is the pick that goes much broader than iron alone. This US-made system is a 6-stage setup with a spin-down filter, a 5-micron sediment filter, an AIO iron filter, a carbon filter, a salt-free softening stage, and UV disinfection. So instead of just stopping stains and sulfur smell, it actually cleans up the whole well water experience from the larger grit all the way through microbial protection. For the iron side specifically, the AIO stage is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. It targets iron, manganese, and sulfur, so you're tackling red rust stains, black staining, metallic taste, and rotten egg odor in one part of the system. It's rated for up to 7 milligrams per liter iron, 1 milligram per liter manganese, and 6 milligrams per liter hydrogen sulfide, and the metered control regenerates only when needed, so you get a much more efficient routine that helps save water and stretch media life. The front end of the system helps support that performance too. The sediment filter is a 20-inch pleated 5-micron filter that captures up to 95% of visible particulate matter, and it maintains 15 gallons per minute flow to cater to high water demands. That means you're removing dirt, sand, rust, and debris before they can beat up the later stages, so the whole system stays consistent and reliable during everyday house use. Then, Kind layers in the extras that make this feel like a serious contender in the best iron filtration system lineup, instead of just a standard iron filter. The carbon stage is NSF and ANSI 42 and 61 certified and rated for 600,000 gallons or 5 years. So water throughout the house gets broader chemical and taste and odor cleanup, while the TAC salt-free softening stage prevents 88% plus of scale-causing minerals from sticking to pipes and appliances without salt bags, brine, or wastewater. On top of that, the UV chamber is NSF and ANSI 55 certified, runs up to 15 gallons per minute, and uses smart alerts for yearly lamp and sleeve replacement, so you get an added disinfection layer that feels especially reassuring in a well water setup. If you want one American-made system that goes after iron and then keeps going, the Kindwater WS7000 UV is my #1 recommendation. Out of curiosity, if you're dealing with well water right now, what do you notice first? Rust stains, a metallic taste, or a sulfur smell? Let me know in the comments, because everyone's water acts a little different. All right. Let's talk about the Matrixx InFusion Ultimate Iron and Sulfur Eradication System, because this iron filtration system takes a different approach. Oxidation with hydrogen peroxide paired with catalytic carbon media. The system uses hydrogen peroxide to oxidize iron and hydrogen sulfide, and then the catalytic carbon media handles filtration, so you get a strong 1-2 punch for metal and odor issues. That translates to water that stops announcing itself every time you turn on a shower or fill a pot for pasta. And because the oxidation happens as part of the system's normal process, you're not manually treating water. You're letting the system do the chemistry for you. On contaminant handling performance, the system is set up for iron up to 20 parts per million, hydrogen sulfide up to 30 parts per million, and manganese up to 1 part per million. So it's especially appealing if sulfur odor is your biggest daily annoyance. It works effectively from pH 6 to 9, which helps it stay versatile across a lot of well water conditions. It also works with iron and sulfur-reducing bacteria, IRB and SRB, which matters when bacteria and odor tend to travel together in well systems. So you're not just masking smell, you're treating the stuff that causes it. Maintenance here revolves around automatic backwashing, and the schedule is clearly defined. Automated backwashing happens approximately every 2 days, which keeps the media bed cleaned out and ready to keep filtering. In the most extreme instances, daily backwashing may be needed, so the system stays aggressive when conditions call for it. That means you're not waiting around for the water to start acting up before the system refreshes itself. For maximum performance, it keeps cycling, cleaning, and staying ready. The control and included hardware make it feel like a full package rather than a tank you set and forget. You get an internal meter that counts gallons used and monitors flow rates, so the system tracks what your home is doing with water. The setup includes a 15-gallon peroxide tank, a precision injection panel, the InFusion filter itself, and 10 gallons of H2O2. So you start with the oxidation piece in place, instead of hunting it down separately. There's also a smart valve setup that connects to your smartphone via Bluetooth 5 using a companion app, so you can check status and adjust settings without hovering over the equipment. If you want a peroxide-based system that leans hard into sulfur control and keeps itself refreshed with frequent backwashing, this one fits that serious odor plus serious automation lane. By the way, if you've tried anything for sulfur smell or iron staining, leave a quick comment with what worked and what didn't. It helps other people who are shopping right now. Finally, if you're looking for the best iron removal system for well water at a great price, then you'll love the SoftPro Iron Master AIO. Built around air injection oxidation, the system uses oxygen as the workhorse instead of feeding chemicals. It runs air injection oxidation, AIO technology, which means incoming water gets oxygenated and then passes through a specialized filter bed, so iron water purification stays chemical-free in day-to-day use. As that oxygen gets used up, the media attracts and filters out iron, sulfur, and manganese, so you stop chasing stains and smells around the house. Then the system regenerates by backwashing out what it trapped and replenishing the oxygen supply, so it keeps working like a loop instead of loading up and giving up. If you're dealing with higher iron and you want a clear how much can it handle number, this one gives you those targets. It's set up to remove iron up to 30 parts per million, manganese up to 7 parts per million, and hydrogen sulfide up to 5 parts per million, so it suits tougher well water situations. It's also designed to raise pH to 7+, which translates to more balanced water if your well tends to run acidic. Because it runs chemical-free operation and only needs water for cleaning and operation, your day-to-day doesn't include mixing or feeding treatment chemicals. You install it, program it, and you focus on living with the water instead of constantly managing it. Sizing matters with this system, and SoftPro makes that part very concrete with minimum flow rate requirements tied to the media size. The 1 cubic foot option calls for a minimum 5 gallons per minute flow rate. The 1.5 cubic foot option calls for a minimum 7 gallons per minute, and the 2 cubic foot option calls for a minimum 10 gallons per minute. That matters because it nudges you to match the filter to what your well pump actually delivers, so you get smooth performance instead of forcing a mismatch. You're not guessing, you're pairing your setup to the way your home moves water, and that leads to a system that feels stable when you shower, run laundry, and use sinks during the same stretch of the day. The control side is where ownership starts to feel modern instead of mechanical. You get a 1-inch high-efficiency, high-flow rate valve, so you use more water at a time without the system dragging down pressure. The valve uses a 4-line easy-read LCD with an electronic touchpad, so changing settings feels like using a simple appliance, not decoding cryptic symbols. There's a vacation mode that pauses regeneration while you're away, and if there's no water use for 7 days, it runs a quick refresh to help keep bacteria from growing in the softener. If you want a high-capacity AIO iron filter that feels set it and forget it once it's dialed in, the SoftPro Iron Master fits that everyday rhythm. Alright, those are the options. If your well water problem is lighter and you want a simpler cartridge-based setup, the Express Water makes a lot of sense. If you want broader treatment with sediment, carbon, scale control, and UV wrapped around your iron filter, the Kind Water system is the obvious all-in-one play. For sulfur-heavy water and tougher contamination loads, the Matrixx InFusion and the SoftPro Iron Master, along with the Kind Water system, are great options, with the SoftPro standing out for chemical-free AIO treatment and the Matrixx standing out for peroxide injection. And if you want a high-capacity whole-house tank with automatic backwash and a straightforward focus on iron, manganese, and sulfur, Crystal Quest is still very much in the conversation. Check these iron filters out for yourself, and if you're comparing the best iron water filtration systems for your home, I've put links in the description box to the best price I've found right now for each one.